It began with a sudden blaze in the dark, a streak of light so immense and brilliant that it dwarfed everything else in the sky. Astronomers first thought it was a mistake, a glitch in the detectors. But within hours, the truth emerged. An object had been spotted, something nearly 100 times larger and brighter than 3 Atlas, and it was heading toward the Sun on a course eerily close to Earth's own orbit. Designated C-2025-R2, but already nicknamed the SWAN, this interstellar traveler has stunned scientists and ignited speculation unlike anything since the arrival of Oumuamua. Its tail stretches 5 times the width of the full moon, a luminous scar across the heavens that no one can ignore. Yet behind that beauty lies something far more unsettling, because every piece of data points to the possibility that this isn't just another comet, but something far older, far more powerful, and perhaps even something designed. When the SWAN was first detected on September 12, 2025, it immediately shattered expectations. Typical comets appear faint, barely visible even through powerful telescopes. But this object was dazzling from the start, its presence undeniable even through amateur instruments. Within 48 hours, it had been imaged in stunning detail, revealing a tail so massive that Atlas's own faint filament looked like a dying ember beside a raging wildfire. Scientists quickly realized that this was not simply a question of size, but of scale. The sheer brightness of the SWAN suggested a release of energy far beyond anything the natural sublimation of ice and rock could explain. Instead of a chaotic spray of dust, its emissions formed a structured jet, narrow and precise, almost as though it were controlled. And its composition only deepened the mystery. Spectral analysis revealed unusual signatures of nickel, cobalt, and plasma chemistry that did not match any known natural processes. Signatures of nickel, cobalt, and plasma chemistry that do not match natural processes. Already, voices in the scientific community whispered a chilling thought. This is not simply a comet. It could be a machine, one that has crossed interstellar distances to arrive at this precise moment in history. As astonishing as the SWAN is by itself, what makes its arrival truly disturbing is the timing. Just as 3I Atlas approaches its own perihelion, the SWAN races in from a completely unrelated trajectory. Yet both will pass the Sun within days of each other, separated by only 50 million kilometers, a margin razor-thin on the cosmic scale. For a brief period in October, both objects will vanish behind the glare of the Sun, invisible to every telescope on Earth. What happens in those hidden weeks is the source of growing unease. Could the two interstellar travelers interact, perhaps gravitationally, or in ways we cannot yet comprehend? Or even collide, showering the solar system with debris? Some researchers suggest something even more unnerving, that this is not coincidence at all, but choreography. Two machines converging near our star as part of a mission older than humanity itself. For centuries, we believed the universe was silent. But silence may not mean absence. It may mean waiting. And perhaps the waiting is over. If 3I Atlas had already alarmed scientists with its unusual nickel composition and its apparent 10-gigawatt power output, then the SWAN has taken those fears and multiplied them 1,000-fold. Early calculations suggest its core is producing more than 10,000 gigawatts of energy every second, a staggering figure equivalent to the total consumption of human civilization, compressed into a single interstellar object. Its plasma sheath behaves like a shimmering barrier, deflecting solar particles with an elegance no comet has ever displayed. Periodic changes in brightness hint at bursts of controlled propulsion, pulses that resemble the signature of a plasma drive rather than chaotic outgassing. Observers describe it not as a comet, but as a leviathan, a fortress gliding through the dark, shaping its environment as it moves. If 3I Atlas was a scout, then the SWAN is the warship, a vessel of immense power and deliberate motion. Its trajectory places it closer to Earth's orbital plane than anyone is comfortable admitting. As unsettling as the SWAN's power is, what may be even more disturbing is the possibility that it has been here before is perhaps the most unsettling of all. NASA's orbital models suggest that the SWAN may not be a one-time intruder, but a returning traveler locked into a cycle lasting more than 22,000 years. The last time it passed near the sun, humanity was emerging from the Ice Age, carving monuments, mapping the stars, and building the first symbols of civilization. Some theorists even suggest that the Great Pyramids, Göbekli Tepe, and other ancient structures aligned with Orion and distant constellations may have been markers of this very cycle, warnings carved in stone for descendants who would one day see it again. And now, as the SWAN blazes across the sky with a tail brighter than any in living memory, the question resurfaces: is this object merely natural? Or is it part of a pattern humanity has forgotten but once knew? Is its return coincidence, or a scheduled event, written into the very architecture of the cosmos? And if it has come back, what is it here for this time? As October approaches, a shadow of dread hangs over the astronomical community. For weeks, both the SWAN and 3I Atlas will slip behind the sun, hidden from every instrument on Earth. No telescope, no probe, no human eye will be able to track them during this blackout. It is as if the universe itself has drawn a curtain, leaving us blind at the very moment when two of the most mysterious interstellar objects ever discovered converge. When they re-emerge, their trajectories may be altered forever. Will they accelerate, decelerate, or shift into entirely new paths beyond our comprehension? Courses? Some whisper about the possibility of a near miss, or worse, a collision, an event that could scatter fragments across the solar system, turning the skies into a storm of alien debris. Others wonder if the blackout itself is part of the story. Perhaps these objects are meant to vanish beyond our sight, conducting operations or exchanges beyond our reach. Whatever happens in those hidden weeks, humanity will be forced to wait in silence, hoping that when the curtain lifts, we are not faced with something far worse than we imagined. What separates the SWAN from every comet ever documented is not just its scale or brightness, but its behavior. Natural comets vent unpredictably, jets erupt in chaotic bursts, and tails bend and fray under the pressure of the solar wind. But the SWAN's emissions are disciplined, measured and constant, as though tuned by design. Its tail does not twist chaotically, but streams with surgical precision, maintaining velocity like a collimated beam. Its brightness pulses at regular intervals, too exact to be dismissed as coincidence. Harvard's Avi Loeb has suggested that this could represent thrust modulation, a deliberate form of navigation. And if that is true, then we are not witnessing a ball of ice and dust hurtling aimlessly through space, but a controlled object, a craft, a probe, perhaps even a vessel. Its power output, its shielding plasma, and its chemical cocktail of nickel, cobalt, and charged particles all point to processes far beyond anything natural. Commentary in the field of physics has taken a dramatic turn. The SWAN does not look like an accident of nature. It looks like intent. Theories now swirl around the possible relationship between 3I Atlas and the SWAN. Could it really be a coincidence that two interstellar objects have arrived within weeks of each other, converging on the sun almost in tandem? To some, the pattern is undeniable. 3I Atlas, smaller and less powerful, may have been a scout, an advanced probe sent to test the waters of our solar system, to collect data, or to prepare the way. The SWAN, by contrast, radiates the scale of a command ship, a Leviathan fortress, following in its wake, either to retrieve information, neutralize the scout, or begin a new stage of whatever mission was set in motion long before human civilization existed. Some speculate they may not even share the same origin, that they could be rival machines, converging to compete for our star, its energy, or something even more profound. In this theory, the sun is not merely a backdrop but a prize, a beacon, or even a gateway. And we are witnessing a convergence written into the architecture of the cosmos, unfolding right above us. As the SWAN approaches perihelion, its trajectory brushes terrifyingly close to Earth's orbital distance, 150 million kilometers, the very span that keeps our planet alive. For a brief moment, the SWAN will skim the edge of our cosmic doorstep, a glowing fortress larger than any comet in recorded history, passing as though to remind us just how fragile our world truly is. The coincidence has sparked ancient echoes. In ages past, comets were seen as omens, signs of upheaval, of endings and beginnings. Now, with one object already radiating controlled power and another trailing it like a scout or rival, the omen feels heavier than ever. For the first time, humanity is not merely watching the sky, but wondering whether the sky is watching back. Are we observers or unwilling participants in a drama we never asked to join? The arrival of the SWAN forces us to confront a terrifying possibility that our solar system is not isolated, not random, but part of a stage where greater forces act. Forces that have been moving across time and space long before we were here to notice them. And now, at last, we are watching. The SWAN is not just another comet blazing across the heavens. It is a Leviathan, a presence 100 times brighter and larger than anything humanity has ever tracked. Moving with precision, radiating with power, immense, deliberate, and converging with Three-Eye Atlas at the very heart of our solar system. The odds of such a coincidence are beyond reason. And yet, here it is, two interstellar visitors arriving together, vanishing behind the sun, and preparing to re-emerge on the other side. When they do, their paths may be forever changed, and so may ours. If this is natural, then we stand at the edge of one of the greatest discoveries in the history of science, living proof that the galaxy sends us messengers, wanderers carrying within them the chemistry and memory of other stars. But if it is not natural, if the SWAN is a machine, a vessel, or a fortress, then we are facing something far greater. Evidence of intelligence operating on timescales and energies far beyond our imagination. A scout and a fortress. A mission spanning millennia, returning again and again as humanity struggles to take its first steps among the stars. Perhaps this is not coincidence. Perhaps it is a cycle, a test, or a warning. For thousands of years, our ancestors looked to the heavens and carved their